So in our last video going over these resources that we use, the maps and the report database, I had mentioned that I'd do another follow-up video um, on the location where we're going to probably be doing our first major production video, which is going to be right around the area of Weiser State Forest here and State Game Lands 106 and 110. Reason it's sort of on the edge of where I would consider viable location. It's easy for us. It's simple, and for first, we've been in deeper woods, but for the purposes of trying to film, trying to do all that stuff, trying to document this to start, like I said, videoing our adventure, we want to be somewhere relatively close. I shouldn't say close. We're probably going to be in at least an hour or two hike in, and then a little bit of a drive from wherever we park to civilization, but still where we should be able to have cell service. If we have technical difficulties with our cameras, if we do something stupid like run out of batteries, that sort of stuff, where we can fail a little bit, but still be close and be able to recover and still have somewhat of a decent hunt. Like I mentioned in that video, it's probably going to be somewhere around wintertime, December area, when that video is going to be made. That's probably when we're looking at going out here, just because we're all busy. We're just kind of starting this idea of wanting to document our adventures, document this sort of stuff, and put it on YouTube. And I'm just one person. I do a lot of the YouTube, the research and that sort of stuff. You'll meet the other people who, when we get on the ground. And we'll sort of do an introduction to everybody and all that sort of stuff in the future. But I wanted to talk about this area in particular. Number one, we've been up here a little bit. We've done some hiking here. Like I had said in that video, the Appalachian Trail runs through here. You can see it here, and so it's an area that has, like I said, it's easy. We can hike in. We can hike that, and then we can kind of dart off and find some deep areas to camp in, set up. Our primary plan is to kind of set up a base camp and work around that. We're gonna have trail cameras, an infrared camera for when obviously we can't see. Obviously we're gonna try and do hiking around. We're gonna set up sort of food traps, areas of interest. We're gonna be out there looking for signs, tree structures, tree breaks. Obviously footprints would be amazing. Hair and that sort of stuff. Obviously, if we can sight, that would be amazing. But is this an incredibly likely area? No, it's probably not. The reason we're coming in, in here, and I think it's possible, is because our theory on, while they might not be permanently living in here, they would have to move, for food, for mating, and so it's an area that, as we kind of zoom out, it connects. The mountain ridges connect, and they can get through the populated areas to get into deeper areas. They can go and get into deeper areas by traveling through here. So I don't see it much as, is it likely that we're going to encounter living areas where we encounter dens and caves and nests and that? No. But I think it's possible that they're traversing through. So we're looking for that sort of sign. We're looking for trails. We're looking for footprints. We're looking for, like I said, tree breaks and markers and anything of sign that they could be traveling through the area. The same way you'd look for deer traveling through an area, or bear traveling through an area, or anything that's out there that would migrate. So that's going to be our primary goal. We're looking at, obviously we have, every time I can't find it, yeah, we have this guy up here, the report of footprints. Is it super reliable? But we don't know. We don't know. But once again, would it correlate with our idea of them traveling and migrating? Possibly. And it happened in the winter, so we're gonna go up there in the winter. Just for that. This is, like I said, is it very likely that we're gonna find anything interesting? Quite honestly, no. I don't expect to come out here and be like, oh, and like I would like to state that we're not gonna fake anything. There's no point for us. We just enjoy going out here, and we're kind of changing our view to document it, and kind of explore the possibility. So we're just gonna go out here. We're gonna enjoy ourselves. We're gonna practice with the filming. I'm gonna practice this whole process of documenting it. And so we're just going in an easy spot. We know it. It's simple. Maybe we'll find something. Maybe. Probably not. Quite honestly, it's probably going to be an incredibly boring video of just us messing around in the woods and camping. Which, hey, those seem to do fairly well on YouTube. So maybe we'll have fun, build some cool structures. We'll go out there and cook some food. It's going to kind of be just an interesting video. And we're just going to kind of go out there and see what we can do. We're going to try and pull out all the stops. We're going to throw in some wood knocks. We're having cameras. We're going to cook bacon. We're going to, whatever we can do to try and attract something that's in there. Yeah. And so, to give you guys a glimpse of moving on from that, we would also like to do one and get out here to Bald Eagle State Forest. This is a lot denser. This is a lot more of an area where I think a smaller population of these could be living. A smaller population, and there's, we see reports in here. We can just come in and click on some. Possibility 2023. That's probably just a person. That track could be something. It's big. It's big. Person's hands next to it for comparison. It's very, could be something. Broken tree. And this is sort of the thing we're looking for, right? I'll just take a minute to talk about this, and I'm going off on a tangent, but we're gonna, and it's it's kind of hard to tell from just the picture. Oh Lord God, sorry. Obviously not a beaver. Obviously broke. Does it look rotted? Yeah. Does it look a little rotted? Yeah. But it's still splintered. It didn't just kind of rot off and fall. Probably pushed over. I don't see an obvious tree over here, leaning over top of it where it fell. Looks like was a pretty good tree, pretty green. So it's curious. It's something to look at. And that's why I like this stuff. Is there's, they have all, and it's kind of weird that there's all kinds of stuff they managed to find tree break kind of footprint, and they call them it's a lot. But you never know. So we're gonna go out there and do that sort of stuff. Like I said, we've been out here. It's dense. It's denser than you would expect for this area. So that's the main reason. But like I said, down here, primary first videoing location. There's a couple sightings here and there. It's a little intense. And here we have a better interview. Couple more confirmed journals and stuff around that area. We'll just go out here. We're just gonna go out there and look. We'll give you That's not at all Port Clinton, Pennsylvania. It's Port Clinton, Ohio. There we go. And let's just hit the terrain satellite. That's what we want. There we have state game lands. You know, we can get the satellite images there. Alright, but we can see where the Appalachian Trail comes through, and that's sort of our plan. We're going to hike in on the Appalachian Trail, and then just kind of dart off. You know, why is there, the state forest itself, it's completely okay to camp on. And we can look at some photos here. Here's a tower. Oh, this is good too. Like, alright, you can see a lot denser forest than you would imagine from just looking at that. You know, dense forest. Once again, more than you would think just by looking at a map. That's why you got to get out here and get on the ground. And then even like the farmland, you know, it's open fields. There's one house in there. It's again dense forest, dense forest, dense forest, dense forest. You know, these forests are serious. There's a lot out here. There's a lot of land that you don't realize. You know, we can come in here and look at this video. You know, boom, beautiful area, a lot of land, a lot of forest, and this was 2024. You know, recent. Lookout Tower. I'd love to come find this. That would be cool. Yeah, here's the street view. You know, Hello Green doesn't. There's a turn off. Boom. You know, that's, you know, and this is fantastic. This is why I love this feature. We can just go on here and look at all these. You know, just gonna come in here, look at more photos. Dense forest. Here they are backpacking through, little time lapse. Dense forest. You know, this is, you know, is it possible for something to traverse through here and come through here? Yeah. When it snows, still dense. Still dense. You know, boulder fields, cool. You know, this is all stuff we're going to come in, investigate. And obviously, like, if we come across this, yeah, we know it's man-made. We're going to very much try and determine between, like, what's a human possibility and what's out of the ordinary. We're coming in looking for resources. You know, we're going to be looking for squirrels, deers, rabbits, that sort of stuff. Oak trees, where they have acorns. We're going to, obviously, there's not going to be berries, but we're looking for berry bushes and stuff that's going to produce that. Places for mushrooms to grow. That's what we're looking for. We're looking for the possibility for something to traverse through here. Is it? Well, the pictures will tell you that it's probably dense stuff. But is it dense stuff? Is the terrain passable? Is there? Obviously, we can see there's water, so that's not an issue. But food, density, sheltering locations, and resources. That's our main goal. Is it possible for somebody to traverse through here to get from a denser area where it might live to another denser area where it might live, whether it be for food, mating, whatever. So yeah, I just wanted to give you guys our reasoning for coming here, give you this location, and we should have that video sometime around the winter. So thank you everybody for watching. I'm going to try and keep posting these little videos, some gear reviews, and just try and keep you updated, and then hopefully we can get to this first investigation soon. You guys can watch it, and hopefully people like this. Thank you very much.